How two girls ruined my life 20 years ago and every night I go to sleep hoping I don't wake up. How two girls ruined my life 20 years ago and every night I go to sleep hoping I don't wake up. I 39 and want to die. I have wanted to die basically every day since I was 19 years old. I will give you a little backstory since everyone loves backstories. Please bear with me as this will be very long. Growing up overweight made me the blunt of jokes all through middle and high school. I was around 325 pounds when I graduated. When I was 17, I met a girl, let's call her Sierra. I was still a junior at this time due to me skipping school second semester sophomore year and failing all my classes sophomore year due to a very bad individual I hung out with during that time. I had met her through a friend who had a huge crush on me. Let's call said friend Lisa. Both of these girls were 15 at the time and went to school in a little town about 10 miles north of me. When it came time for me to choose, I chose Sierra. Fast forward a month later, I was head over heels. I had previous girlfriends, but something about her was different. She didn't seem to care that I was overweight and genuinely seemed to love me. The day I introduced Sierra to my father who has since passed, and she came up to my room with me. As we started fooling around, she eventually took my virginity. About 2 weeks later she called me freaking out that she was sick and had missed her period. And I thought this was great as even though we had only been dating a month, we had already decided we wanted to have kids together and even had names picked out. This freaked her out and she eventually confessed to her dad and he threatened me that if I ever so much as called his daughter again, I would be arrested. We spent the better half of the next 18 months or so sneaking around behind her parents' back and talking on the phone at night after her father went to bed. Granted, this is 2002-03, so texting isn't a big thing. We would sit in her car when we would meet and cuddle, make out, I'd finger her, things like that. However, she completely refused to do anything intimate to me. At the time, I didn't think anything of it as I thought she just had different ways of showing her affection toward me. Changing the tune for a minute, but this all ties in. I swear. After about a year of dating Sierra, I was chatting on MSN with my buddy and his girlfriend in a group chat. Now, me and my best friend's girlfriend had brother-sister type bond that made her off limits in my eyes. I had introduced them and they hit it off right away. However, without my noticing, she has brought in a friend of hers that had the exact same name. Let's call them both Erica 1 buddy's girl and Erica 2 my future girlfriend. After about 20 minutes of thinking I'm talking to Erica 1 and messing around with her like a brother would do to a sister, I realized she started to flirt with me. Just as I was about to tell her that ST was inappropriate, I looked at the email address under that MSN name, and noticed this Erica had a different last name. It was then that I realized I had been teasing Erica 2 the whole time and she indeed thought I was flirting with her. Around this time, it was summer of 2003, I was 18, about to be heading into my senior year finally. Sierra was 15 almost 16 and going into her junior year. Erica 2 was 16 and going into her junior year. Erica 2 went to school across the state border, so these girls didn't know each other. One day, I get a call from Sierra saying she wanted to take a break during the summer because the sneaking around was getting to her. I was absolutely devastated. Cried for days. During this time, Erica 2 was there for me and we eventually struck up a relationship that lasted throughout the summer. We didn't have an extremely physical relationship, but there was quite a bit of making out and grinding. Come the end of summer, I get a call from Sierra bawling her eyes out telling me it was the worst 2 months of her life without me in it and wanted to get back together. After much deliberation, I ended things with Erica 2 because I couldn't get over Sierra and was still madly in love with her. From what Erica 1 told me, this absolutely devastated her, as she spent the first week of her junior year crying every day. So here I was, back to sneaking around with Sierra behind her parents' back. Back me to showing her how I loved her physically and her still not touching me in a loving way. Fast forward about 5 months, and my world had came crashing down. One day on AIM for you younger folk, that's AOL Instant Messenger, I got an IM from a guy, and to this day I still can't remember his AIM name. All it said was, "Dude, I didn't know she is ABF." That was it. I replied asking who this was, but never received another message. A few weeks before I received this message, Lisa has regularly been calling me asking me how I was doing and always checking in on me. I found it odd, because for the last year she had basically cut me out of her life for choosing Sierra over her. About a month later, Lisa asked to meet her at her job before closing. She worked at a local fast food place. She gave Amy a recording that completely ruined my life. On it, Sierra was talking to all her friends, Lisa included, as she had still thought at the time that Lisa had cut me off, explaining how she had just had the best intercourse of her life last night. Lisa was furious, saying you knew how much I liked original poster and that she didn't want to hear about her and our intercourse life. That's when Sierra dropped the bomb to everyone. It wasn't me. When Lisa asked Sierra when she had broken up with me, she told her she hadn't. Sierra said I was basically like her best friend who she allowed to make out with and finger her every once in a while, but I was nothing more. She then told them that after we had intercourse that first month of dating, she couldn't feel my small pee-pee under her and knew that we would have a no future together. She then started making jokes about how her baby brother, who she helped take care as her parents worked until late evening, was bigger than me and he was 6. Lisa, who sounded furious at this point, asked her why she didn't just break up with me, and Sierra stated she really thought she was in love with me and enjoyed spending time with me. She figured she could sleep with other guys and keep it on the DL, and then get all the emotional parts from me, and since her dad had forbidden her from seeing me, it made it easier to get away with it. She said she had an emotional connection with me that the other guys didn't give her, but that intercourse between us would be non-existent. After hearing all this, I flipped. I threw the recorder through glass door at the restaurant. Thankfully this was before cameras were everywhere, and Lisa said she would handle it, saying some drunk asshole fell through the door. She apologized to me and said for a month or so she has been having suspicions that Sierra was cheating on me, and that's why she took the recorder with her, because she has been told what happened that night. As I was walking out, Lisa said she had a few more things to tell me. At this point, I was already numb. Apparently, after Lisa had stopped recording, Sierra let everyone know her body count, which before we hooked up, was 1, was now at a whooping 21. Man, she was an overachiever. Also, she had faked the pregnancy thing to use it as an excuse to never have intercourse with me. Yeah, every time I brought up intercourse, she said she still wasn't over that scare and didn't want to risk it. Her prom night was the next month, and she ended up going with her gay best friend, and yes, this guy was gay. Everyone knew. She wanted to come over to my house afterward, but I was at my buddy's and told her she could meet me there. At this point, she has no idea I know everything. She shows up about 10:30ish and we head down to his basement. About 30 minutes later, we are going at it hot and heavy, and I once again try to initiate intercourse knowing this is going to be the last time we are ever together. She is hesitant and I say I can use 2 condoms to make her feel safer. After a few minutes of debating, she says she can't do it, but wants to continue fooling around. By this time, I was already drunk as my buddy and I have been drinking significant Original Contento and Inge all night while playing Triple Play on PS2. I told her no, that I was ready to go back up to my buddy's room and get back on the PS2. She was furious. She left without saying anything. The next few weeks I got back in touch with Erica too to see if there was any shot as rekindling what we had. She said she has just got out of a relationship and wasn't looking to get into another one. But if I felt like fooling around, she was game. So, Erica too and I started fooling around for about a month before I finally let Sierra know my endgame. One night at a bonfire across the state line, Erica too and I finally had intercourse. I was on cloud 9. I was thinking back to the 9 months prior, realizing what a mistake I made picking Sierra over Erica too. I was supposed to call Sierra at 1030 as that had been out nightly routine for 18 months, but I didn't that night. She called my cell phone around 50 times that night, and I just kept ignoring her. I called Sierra that night when I got home around 3 a.m. She answered and let me have it. "Where the hell have you been? I have been worried sick about you. I thought you were dead and I was about to have a panic attack." I explained that I was at a bonfire with Erica too by this time. She has known about me and her the previous summer and she started to flip out on me. By this time, I was exhausted with our relationship and let her know that Erica too and I have intercourse. Sierra had the effing nerve to start crying, asking how I could betray her like that. I told her that her facade was over. Lisa had recorded her entire convo the other day and that we were done. She cried for a bit, then hung up on me. The next morning, she called me on her way to school like she had done every day for the 18 months we were together, crying saying she didn't want us to end and she couldn't lose me in her life. I told her she lost me the first time she let another PP penetrate her, just neither one of us knew it until she got caught. She would call from time to time, but I never answered. I was looking forward to seeing Erica too that night, as there was another bonfire. Being it was springtime and towards the end of the school year, parties were starting to pick up. I showed up late to the party as me and some buddies went to a bar to pre-game for a bit. Once we got to the bonfire, I searched for Erica too. I saw her talking to some friends. I snuck up behind to surprise her, but as I was sneaking up, I heard the convo she was having. She was making fun of the guy she had intercourse with the last night. She said, and I quote, "He pulled his pants down and it took every ounce of energy in my being not to laugh. When he entered me, it felt like I was using my pinky to masturbate." I just stood there stunned. At the time, Erica once saw me standing behind Erica too. She exclaimed original poster. She didn't know Erica 2 and I had started messing around again. So Erica 1 was just excited to see me. She wasn't at the previous night bonfire because her and her BF were out of town for the night. At this point Erica 2 turned around. Erica 1 saw my face go pale. I looked at Erica 1 and she had a confused look on her face. Then I turned my attention to Erica 2. I started at Erica 2 for what seemed like hours, but was actually about 30 seconds. I turned and just started walking away. As I was walking away, Erica 2, oh there goes the baby boy now. I heard a smack. I turned around and saw that Erica 1 had cold-cocked Erica 2, which was basically her best friend beside me, and came over to console me. I left the party about 10 minutes later. I spent all my 20s and early 30s drinking heavily. Never once looking for the affection of another girl. I had always wanted to have 2 kids. A boy and a girl. But within 2 months, 2 girls had ruined me. I would never let another girl touch me again. My dad and my grandparents all died while I was in my 20s within a years of each, and my weight ballooned out of control. At my heaviest, I was around 500 pounds a few months ago. I started having tests done and found out I have low T. My glands are working fine, but my body isn't making testosterone. I'm assuming this has been going on since my teen years, as I have never had acne and never really developed facial hair. My dad and brothers all have full beards, so they wanted to put me on Astrogel, claiming it will help me lose weight along with Ozempic, as I am currently at around 430 pounds, but right now, I just don't care. Every day since the day after Erica 2 did that to me, I wake up every morning and say FK. I say that because I wake up. I'm ready for my life to be over. I have suicidal thoughts every day, even though, apparently like my relationships, I'm too much of a pussy to do anything about them. I just got done at the doctor's where they are putting me on testosterone. I was told this will make me sterile. And it's hitting me hard. The realization that I will never have kids is destroying me. My parents had always asked me if I wanted kids in my 20s, and I always made excuses like I don't want to bring kids into this world, or I don't want to put up me growing up. The real reason I didn't want kids was I knew every day I woke up, I wanted it to be my last. I didn't know if I would ever have the guts to finish the job I almost started about a month after what Erica 2 had done to me, but I didn't want to take a chance leaving a child without a father. For context, I got really drunk at the town hangout about a month after the Erica 2 situation and took a bunch of pills because I wanted it all to end. I was sitting alone when I did it, or so I thought. One of my buddies at the time saw me take all the pills and ran over to me, calling about 5 or 6 friends over to help him. Keep in mind, at the time I'm 5 feet 11 inches, 325. I put up a fight. But enough of them held me down and induced me to vomit up everything, which I could tell included all of the pills that were now all over the ground. I just laid there crying for what seemed like hours with a couple buddies consoling me. So here I am, sitting here writing this post wishing my life would just end. I haven't had any friends in years, my days consist of work and going home. I just don't know what to do. I haven't kissed a girl since I was 19. I would get drunk and hit on girls in my 20s, but the next day when I was sober, I would pretend it didn't happen when they brought it up to me to avoid what would be the obvious disappointment in intercourse. So that's my story. I think I might try to stick it out for 5 years just to watch my niece graduate high school, as I love that girl more than anything in the world, but no one ever knows what that day brings. Sometimes, as I'm driving to work, I fantasize about what it would be like to turn my car head-on into an oncoming semi. But I couldn't risk hurting someone else or putting some poor human through that. Outside of that, I'm just dead inside. I feel nothing for anyone outside my family. Any advice would be welcome because each day gets harder and harder and I have no one to talk to. Too long didn't read penis size was made fun of by girls I had strong feelings for and attempted to end it.